I love you, man, but that's where I have to draw the line. Eric Henry, let's chat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? What? Yeah. Y'all ready to play some football? Just got big D. Let's go. If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. Let me know. I'm about to.
What's going on, people? LP 2000 right back at you with another audio interview or audio conversation. This time I got a really cool friend of mine on the X Plus Collectors Facebook group and a huge Gamera fan that I've been meaning to talk to for a long time. Eric Henry, I got him on the line. How you doing, sir?
How's it going, man?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for being a part of this Gamera discussion. I really do appreciate it. Like I said, I know that you're a huge Gamera fan, which I thoroughly enjoy. And from a personal standpoint, I haven't done a lot of Gamera related stuff this year, and I should have, considering this is 50 years. His birthday is this year. He turns 50 this year. But the year's almost over. I haven't done a lot of Gamera related projects or videos, so I thought it'd be apropos to have a great discussion with a great Gamera fan and Eric Henry. So thank you for being a part of this.
Yeah, I'll do my best.
Hey, trust me, you being here is more than enough. So thank you for that. As you know, or in case you don't know, majority of my conversations I've had with Godzilla YouTubers or whatever, Godzilla mostly takes up majority of the focal point of the discussion. But since it's going to be a Gamera discussion, Gamera's going to be the focal point, and Godzilla's going to be the minority. He may pop up here and there because really you can't have Gamera without Godzilla, to be honest. But it's going to be all about the super turtle that we love so much. So, first off, Eric Henry, how long have you been a Gamera Godzilla Kaiju fan?
Alright, so this is kind of complicated, but going all the way back, I was a Godzilla fan first. I was probably 3-4 years old when I saw Godzilla versus Megalon.
Okay.
On VHS, and ever since then I've been hooked. Oddly enough, I didn't get into Gamera until like later in life, like high school. I had just one VHS copy of they used to have like this limited series. It was like a Family Home Entertainment. And they did a few different Gamera releases. I don't know if you remember those on VHS.
Yeah, they were the Sandy Frank dubs.
Yeah, exactly. And I had Gamera versus Gylon, and I actually wore that tape out while growing up. That was the only Showa Gamera film I watched growing up. So then I got to high school, and I got Gamera Guardians of the Universe, and like that blew me away. And I got some bootlegs of Gamera 2 and Gamera 3, and I just been hooked ever since.
Okay, cool. And you know, it's funny that you mentioned that you got into Gamera in high school because, ironically, I got into Gamera when I was in high school. And it's kind of funny. I got introduced to Godzilla with a movie that may not be the most excellent Godzilla film in terms of filmmaking and story, whatever. Actually, my introduction to Godzilla was Godzilla vs. Megalon. And yeah, it was Godzilla vs. Megalon. And ever since I saw that film, I just got hooked, and it just grew from there. Ironically, with Gamera, the first Gamera movie that got me into Gamera was Gamera Super Monster.
Oh my gosh, that's a horrible one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, kind of an auspicious start for me to get into Gamera, but I watched Gamera Super Monster and I liked it. I knew it was on the same, as far as like the way the filmmaking was done. I know it was done in the same way as the Godzilla films. But that what made me want to get into Gamera more. I really enjoyed, even though Gamera Super Monster is basically the Godzilla's revenge of the Gamera world, I really did enjoy the film despite its shortcomings. Even watching it, I knew it was stock footage because Gamera looked different. in each of the into the kaiju battle scenes with the monsters. So I knew it was that way. But still, I was impressed, and I really enjoy Gamera for what it is. But tell me, what is it that you find most appealing about Gamera that you would choose him over Godzilla in certain respects?
He's the Rocky Balboa of monsters or kaiju, man. Like he usually takes more of a licking than he gives until the very end. You know, like most of his movies is kind of a choreograph. So like the first battle, if there's two battles or something, you know, the first battle he just gets, you know, just owned, and then he has to come back and through either ingenuity or just pure determination, you know, he barely comes out on top. And
yeah,
I kind of like basically, you know, the underdog who sticks up for other underdog, you know, kids. So
yeah.
Plus the Heisei movies are just freaking amazing. So
absolutely. I will talk more. I'll ask you more about that in a few seconds. But leaving to my question, my first question was, I guess my second question, third question, whatever. What is your favorite Gamera film? What is the one film that you cannot get enough of, whether it's popular or unpopular? What is your favorite Gamera film, and what is your least favorite Gamera film?
All right. My favorite movie of all time, actually, is Gamera Guardian of the Universe.
Okay.
Just love it. And it's not a knock on the second or the third Heisei films. Like, they're just as good, if not better. It's just, I feel like each one's doing its own thing. So, like, Gamera 2 is more of a sci-fi, ultra Q-ish thing. Gamera 3 is more of like a anime, like Neon Genesis Evangelion sort of thing. But Gamera Guardian of the Universe is like just a straight, perfect kaiju movie. Like, some of the effects aren't as good, but I love it. My least favorite is actually Gamera Super Monster.
Okay.
As big of a Gamera fan as I am, I have never been able to watch that movie all the way through.
So wait a minute, you like Gamera the Brave more than Gamera Super Monster?
Oh yeah, man.
Really?
Yeah. See, I like Gamera the Brave to a point. I like a lot of what it does, but I still, especially the older I get, I have a hard time. Two things. I hate that they did away with the roar. It just doesn't feel like Gamera. And two, they underpower him like way too much. He just like, I don't know. Like, I think like the almost entire movie goes by before he even shoots a fireball. I don't know. It feels like a baby Gamera. I guess what it's supposed to. I don't know. It's okay, but Gamera Super Monster is definitely my least favorite. Because it's not even a Gamera movie, really. It's like a super woman trio movie.
And you know what? I'm the exact opposite. And you know what? I value your opinion, and that's cool, and that's all well and good. But I love Gamera Super Monster, but for some reason I cannot get through Gamera the Brave. You say you can't get through Gamera Super Monster. I can't get through Gamera the Brave. I watched Gamera the Brave one time, and that was good, and that was good enough.
That's fair enough, man. I can't. When you did your comparison of Godzilla 2000 versus Megaguirus, is like totally opposite there. Usually I'm like right there with you, but you know, maybe when it comes to the handful of films, we're total opposites.
Yeah, and that's cool. It's just, I mean, before as Godzilla 2000, Godzilla Megaguirus, I just prefer Godzilla Megaguirus more than Godzilla 2000, and I just feel like that Godzilla 2000, for it to be a reboot, it just reeked of we gotta just get Godzilla 98 off of people's minds, and it just wasn't. It seemed like they just got together. It was like, okay, we gotta bring Godzilla back. Okay, what can we do?
Yeah.
Okay, we can have him fighting the alien. Okay, and what else? We can have him trash Tokyo. Okay, what else? That's it. That's why I enjoy Godzilla Megaguirus versus Godzilla 2000. But you know what my favorite Gamera movie is? Gamera versus Baragon.
Really?
I love Gamera versus Baragon. I can't begin.
That movie is amazing.
It is amazing. I just love that film so much, and But there's so many different things that go against the film. For one, Gamera's not in it that much. Number two, Baragon, he's a cool kaiju, but I don't think that and that's one thing, a testament to how good the film is. Baragon was such a ridiculous kaiju, but they built him up as like a serious, intimidating threat that that you forget, or you overlook the fact that his power is, he has a mile-long tongue that can freeze things, or his weakness is rainwater. But they built Baragon so well in the film, and they kept Gamera at a distance, or at least to a minimum, that I just really do enjoy the film. I enjoy the human story, the characters. Gamera, at this point, is not really the kid-friendly hero that he would become later on in the show or series. He's like a tweener, where you don't know where he's coming from, and I enjoy it. I absolutely enjoy that film. I enjoy Gamera vs. Baragon. Do you like Gamera vs. Baragon?
Oh yeah, I love me some Rainbow Ray. I think that's the coolest special effect probably in the entire series.
Yeah.
And I agree. I like that take on Gamera. Like, I wouldn't want it for every movie, but I wish they'd do it more, where it's kind of like he's not so tied up with the humans. Like, he does good things, but you're not sure why. Or it's more like an animal. Like, he's just doing his own thing, and it's good, but you're not having that direct contact. I wish they'd do a little more, like, sort of what they did with that movie, because it works really well. It works,
and when I talk to people that I meet within the community, I always recommend the first Gamera, the first three Gamera films: Gamera vs. Baragon, and Gamera vs. Gauss. I recommend those three. The ones that follow those, you really have to really be a fan to enjoy those films.
Yeah. I think Gamera versus Gyron or Gilon, I think that's a long exception, because some people, it's not a high quality film by any stretch of the means, but like, for some people that film just works, and I've got tons of feedback over the years that people love that movie out of the roster. That'd be either my second or third favorite.
Oh, really?
I like the original Gauss a lot too.
Yeah. Gauss is like the show of Gauss is first of all my favorite villain. Second of all, I would say he's like, the movie's like third, like far as my favorite Gamera films. Gamera vs. Giron is like, I watch it and I'm entertained by it, but it was like, It's one of those things, and that's one thing I want to ask you, because Gamera, I think, talking about the show, of course, Gamera, it was highly entertaining, even though it was kid friendly, it was still entertaining. But I think that Gamera got a bad rap being compared to the Godzilla films, because Godzilla was basically the best, I guess, or looked at as the best, and Gamera was looked at as a knockoff. Over the years, I've grown to appreciate Gamera more. I don't see him as a knockoff anymore. I see him as a great alternative, because as great as Godzilla is, you don't want to see Godzilla 24 hours a day. You gotta have a variety. So, how do you feel of people looking at Gamera as a knockoff?
Well, first, man, I agree with you 120 billion% there. Like, I get kind of tired defending the Showa films too, because like, they're just different than the Godzilla films. They're meant to do different things. They had a lot tinier budgets. They had a lot, smaller shooting schedules, and they were aiming for different things. It's something you said that the Godzilla series ends up kind of following in Gamera's footsteps eventually. In the Showa, they start doing stuff like Godzilla's Revenge and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
I think they did. I think those movies do exactly what they meant to, and I think it's harder to do something that's that childishly innocent and just do it well. Like I said, man, because growing up, Gamera vs. Gyron like that, it was just like the funnest movie I'd ever seen. Like, it was fun.
Right.
Like, just encapsulated, like, just going out and playing in the backyard and just making up like this crazy adventure with your friends. Like,
exactly.
So, I think, they do what they meant to, what they what they wanted him to do. So.
And as far as the rest of the Showa films after Gamera vs. Gauss now, when they showcase the kids and stuff like that, like I said, those are films I wouldn't recommend to just an average person, because you have to understand the history of Gamera and why he morphed into the kid-friendly character that he did. But at the end of the day, I can still watch Gamera vs. Virus or Giron or Jiger or Zegra and really be entertained. And that's one thing I think that Gamera had an advantage as far as the shower over Godzilla, is the fact that his foes were very eclectic or very eccentric, but yet they were intriguing. From Gauss being that giant bat that could shoot lasers out of his mouth, from Jiger, the way he can or she can shoot quills from her nose and basically impregnated Gamera, where they had to go inside Gamera. And how those kids survived, I had no idea.
Yeah. No, that's good. I just want to talk about that, though. Like, that's something as a kid, because I would, the VHS tape I had trailers for the rest of them in that series. I'd always watch it, and I was like, oh, Gauss looks cool. Oh, Ziggler looks awesome.
Yeah.
And, like, that's the cool thing about the Showa villains for the Gamera is, like, they're a point between, like, the Toho, like, kind of more realistic and grounded, relatively, and like the Tsuburaya, where like the Ultraman stuff, where like they're just crazy over the top, and I feel like the Gamera villains are always kind of like a nice in between, you know.
Yeah, I mean the only one I wasn't really impressed with was Virus. I didn't really see a point.
Yeah, I
Kaiju. But every other Kaiju I enjoyed. I enjoyed Zegra. I enjoyed Giron. You know, I just enjoy kaiju that stand out, and that's one thing I love about the Gamera Showa films, or just overall films. Because Gamera has faced some, even in the Heisei era, he when it came to Legion and Iris, his foes are just so interesting and intriguing. They're different than the Godzilla foes. That's what I think attracts me more to the. Attracts me to Gamera is the fact that he faced those eccentric foes. But there are certain things about the Gamera films that make you scratch your head. Like I said, even though they have intriguing ideas, like in Jiger, where you know they had to go inside Gamera to eradicate the problem, and these kids are walking around inside Gamera. Listen, folks, to what I'm saying. Gamera, a 200 feet tall turtle that can eat fire, breathe fire, shoot it out of all of his orifices on his body, and these kids are walking around. They go inside Gamera's mouth. Gamera is like knocked out from Jiger. See the film; it's a really good film. Gamera's knocked out from Jiger. He falls head first into the water. So they take a little submarine. They go inside of his mouth because his mouth is open, and they go inside his body because Jiger made Gamera sick. And these kids are walking around this monster's body with no helmets. They're not dissolving. They're not. I'm like, wow. Okay.
Yeah, man. You're tapped into the Showa energy, man. Like, one of the most perverse pleasures I get in life is just trying to describe to someone who has no idea what Gamera is. Just like, so yeah, it's this saber-toothed 200-foot tall turtle that walks on two legs, can shoot fire, also eats fire, and then flies around by just shooting fire out of all this, you know. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. People look at you like you're crazy.
I mean, yeah, and some people don't want to give Gamera a chance because, in a way, he is a ridiculous kaiju, but it works. I mean, for the time, it works. And I think that...
Yeah, for the longest time, man, I thought, like, you know, as kaiju fans, we'd all, like, always want to seek out, like, everything, you know?
Yeah.
But I ran into a lot of people over the past year or so that just, they weren't even willing to try any of the Gamera films. Like, I'm just a Godzilla fan, and that's it.
I know, and I think it's a shame because, like I said, I don't see Gamera as a knockoff. I see him as a healthy alternative to Godzilla. Of course, the films, at least some of the films, are cheesy, and some films can't compare with the production values that the Godzilla films had. I mean, I would give you that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Gamera has had the worst films ever in the history of film cinema. That's not the case. He's had some really fun films, and I think that was the key, especially with the kids. It was just a fun time to see Gamera kick butt. There's one thing I like about Gamera. He was a great fighter, and he just an intriguing character. But I think he gets a bad rap because of where his Showa career ended, which leads me into I want to ask you. We go into the Heisei. And
All right.
they completely, Shisuke Kaneko, that's how you pronounce his name, the guy who did GMK. The way he turned Gamera around in the Heisei films is just awesome. It's just unbelievable. What's your take on Gamera's Heisei trilogy?
I like them. Like I said, everyone's got like at least one the trilogy. That for me is the trilogy. It's not Star Wars or Lord of the Rings. It's the Gamera movies. Like I said, I like how each one does a different thing. And I think it's really the only Kaiju series I can think of that purposely has like a character arc.
Yes.
For like the main Kaiju, like he increasingly gets kind of more like just battle worn and just grumpier throughout the So yeah, I love those films. I think the first movie's got like a pretty good human cast. The second one, my problem sometimes with that, like it's more just a straight action movie. Like the humans are a little lost in it. I think like they're okay, they're serviceable, they get the job done. And the third one is just wow. That was my favorite for a long time, but I see that as like the Dark Knight Returns version of Gamera. Like it's great to do once, like to get him that dark personally, but I wouldn't want every Gamera film ever be like that dark.
And it's funny you mentioned the Dark Knight because I equate the Gamera trilogy to the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah.
The fact that each story, I mean, you can actually watch all three. It's still part of the same story arc, in my opinion, but yet each film is so radically different, and they take new directions with the story, but yet present still the overall similar vision where Gamera is in the Heisei trilogy. That it's just hard to pick one over the other one. Like if you like Gamera Guardian of the Universe the best, I can't argue with that. Or if you like Gamera 2 the Advent of Legion, I can't argue with that. Or if you like Gamera 3, whatever. I just enjoy how they were able to just, retool Gamera, make him serious or whatever. I mean, I never had a problem with Gamera to begin with, but when they brought him back for the Heisei series, the films consistently got better, the special effects got better, the storytelling got better. It just consistently got better. And that's something that you don't really see when it comes to films, especially in a Kaiju film, that, the sequel is better than the predecessor. I even asked Godzilla fan freaks, Everett Grondin, and I'm sure you feel the same way, that he feels, and I feel the same way also, that he feels that the Gamera Heisei trilogy far surpasses the Godzilla Heisei films. So do you agree with that?
Oh yeah, by far. Like I think you mentioned it a few times. Like I totally agree. Like those first three Heisei Godzilla films, the ones that they had to spend some time on. Like even King Ghidorah, like for all its craziness with the time, traveling, it's still kind of a fun movie to shut off your brain.
Yeah.
But those first three, from G85 to King Ghidorah, like they feel pretty good. Like I still wouldn't hold them up to the Gamera movies, but they're pretty good. Then after that, I don't really watch anything after that all that often. They're okay, but they're not really for me.
Hey, that's one thing about the Heisei films. I defend the first three. They were fine on that path. Now, 85, Godzilla 85 and Biollante, they're kind of similar because it's kind of like set in reality in a way. Like if those events were happen right now, that's how it will happen. With King Ghidorah, they went far outfield, far left field with the whole sci-fi element with the time traveling terrorists and how they try to retool King Ghidorah's origin and flesh out Godzilla's backstory, whatever. But to me, it worked. Then you get towards the rest of Heisei films, and it seems like they just lost its creative edge. It just wasn't anything special. Destroyer, I enjoyed because I think it went out on a great note. But Mothra, Mechagodzilla Part 2, and Space Godzilla, I can't get into it. But with Gamera, his films got, like I said, got better. They got darker. They got serious. Maybe a little bit too dark for those who follow Gamera for so long. But I enjoyed the way the character went into that direction. Now, it was kind of funny with Gamera 3, the fact that, he was pursuing Gauss, and, I mean, because you can argue that in the first two, that Gamera, although he caused destruction, he seemed like he was mindful of the people that he was putting in harm's way. But in Gamera 3, he was just shooting fireballs left and right. He didn't care who he was blowing up. But did you like that part in Gamera 3 where he, even though Gamera was trying to do the right thing by eradicating the Gauss, but did you like how he was just killing folks left and right as a byproduct of his, his efforts to kill Gauss?
I like it. So I like that they did it because, like, it's kind of tying it back to the first film for him, like, that he's kind of a darker character. And I like that they did it once, like I said. I don't mind it in the movie. I do feel a little, I don't know, conflicted about, like, Noriaki Yuasa, the director of most of the original Gamera movies. He was, like, in G-Fest when they premiered that, and I guess he was visibly upset having to watch those scenes, like, his children's character doing that type of stuff. So
yeah,
I do feel kind of bad that I know a few fans, kind of in the Japanese community, who that's a really upsetting film for them because of essentially seeing like Mickey Mouse or something just go postal, but I think it was worth doing. I liked what it does kind of about the character. He's kind of just gone to this dark place, but even in all that, though, he still has the presence of mind to, stick his hand in the way of that kid who's about to get fried by the Gauss, and he's still ultimately being a good guy, just in a really dark way.
Right.
So
in a very, very dark way, and it actually be him showing the people down, whatever. I mean, that's just something that you haven't really seen in a kaiju film before. I mean, of course, like in the old Showa films for Godzilla or Gamera, you see Godzilla or a Gigan attacking a city. You just see, him attacking buildings, whatever. It never crosses your mind whether people are actually in them because you don't really care, or whatever. But in Gamera, it brings that right in your face. Like, yes, there are people there. And, and when Gamera was throwing those fireballs and when the explosion happened, you see those bodies just scatter across the screen. I was like, wow, that's dark, and it didn't bother me. But it was a bold move to do. And one thing I appreciate about the Gamera films, like the Heisei Gamera films, it was the first time where I actually had to sit down and watch it from beginning to end. And that's a testament to the great storytelling that Mr. Kaneko did. I mean, with these kaiju films, they're basically, they follow like a similar plot in a way. Some films are different than others. Others, I get that. But with the Gamera Heisei films, they had a complicated story where you had to sit there literally from the beginning to end and watch it to understand why are these events happening, why are these monsters here, why is Gamera here, and I like that infrastructure that they put inside the story to make it interesting. I call it a thinking man's kaiju film, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of the main reasons why I love the Gamera film so much, is because they brought that in-depth storytelling into it.
Yeah, even though Gamera Guardian of the Universe is my favorite of the batch, like, I do objectively say I think they get better and better as they go along. I think each one is a better film technically, and it's better directed, better written, go all the way through. Which one's your favorite of the trilogy?
Let's see. If I had to pick one, it would probably be... Man, this is hard. Let's see. If I had to pick one that I can't get enough of... Okay, I say it from two different perspectives. I like Gamera 3, the movie, but my favorite design of the Heisei is Gamera 2. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I know you're a big 96 fan.
Yeah, I'm a 96 fan. I mean, I enjoy the 99.
My wife do, yeah.
Yeah, and once again, it goes back to the films. I love how they were able to tweak things with Gamera, where they gave him fireballs, plasma fireballs, instead of straight fire. I'm glad how they gave him, like, flipper wings that he can use to fly to give him more of an aerodynamic edge when it came to his flying capabilities. I just enjoyed everything that they did. I enjoyed Legion. I love Iris. That battle that he had with Gamera in the air, that was awesome. I mean, I really do enjoy that, and it's just. Yeah. It's just a testament to the awesome storytelling that Kaneko brought to the table, and how he was able to turn Gamera around. And it was just awesome. It was awesome. Now, I don't want to touch on Gamera the Brave.
That's fair enough.
No, I don't want to touch on Gamera the Brave. So, before we go, I want to wrap up with this new news. Apparently, I'm sure you've seen it. The new Gamera trailer. What are your thoughts?
So it's funny. Some people might know him. Mike Rousseau. He's a pretty big guy in a lot of the Godzilla forums, and
yeah, I know him.
Yeah, so I was chatting with him before the trailer is about to come out, and I was like, man, we're both going back and forth. We're both pretty big Showa fans. And not in that ironic way. Like, I hate people who are like, I don't hate them, but I can't understand, like, people who like to just like them, like, in a way that, like, is mean-spirited, where he's making fun of those. Like we legit enjoy the Showa films.
Right.
So we're just going back and forth saying, like, you know, these are the things we hope we don't see in the trailer. Like, yeah, I hope it's not dark. Keep going back and forth. Like, oh, we hope it's not all CGI. And then we're like, yeah, I really, really hope that they don't use Galaxy again. Like, we hope we see Zebra or Garon or something like that.
Right.
The trailer pretty much did every single one of the things that we were hoping it wouldn't. And at least for me personally, I still liked it. Like, I would have liked them to go a lighter route, like, in regarding the universe and Showa, but I understand economics-wise, like, as a kid, you're probably going to gravitate, like, you know, that's why Batman's usually more popular than Superman, because kids want the sort of a darker, angstier hero, and the Heisei films are, like, you know, pretty popular in the community, so, you know, I understand why it does what it does. I'm still not hugely crazy about the CGI, but, like, you know, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not crazy with CGI either. Now, if they did it just for the trailer, I'm fine with that. But I hope they'd have some kind of suitmation techniques interwoven into the story. And I have a theory on why I think they went with this darker route. I think if you can argue, Gamera the Brave was somewhat of a lighter fare, you know what I'm saying? And which didn't do well at the box office. As a matter of fact, it was a flop. I think they decided to go back to the darker route and try to pick up where Gamera 3 ended for the Heisei, because those were highly successful films. And I think that I think they tried to captivate the essence of that and lead off into something maybe similar to that. Because it was financially successful. That's why I think that's why they did what they did with the whole darker route. But the monster at the end that you don't see very well, they kind of looks like an updated version of Virus. And that's one thing I have to say. If there was a monster that could really benefit from a CGI makeover, it's Virus. Can you imagine what Virus can do with the CGI makeover that's done right? Let me just say that. If it's done right, and mind you, the monster in the trailer, he does kind of look sloppy, but then again, it's a trailer. It's not the final product. So, but for what that monster can do, the fact that it could, I guess, project an energy beam from a distance and then, like, disintegrate whatever he focuses his power on, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah. That's a cool power.
It is.
And I remember someone else had mentioned that. Like, that could look a lot like Virus. I was like, no, it doesn't. And I had, like, started looking at all my Virus figures. I was like, that does look like the head shape and all this other stuff. I'm like,
yeah. I mean, only multiple tentacle monsters that he's ever faced, Gamera-wise, has been Iris or Virus. But I don't see why they would bring Iris back since he killed him in the Heisei. So I would think if anybody deserved, like I said, a CGI makeover, it would be Virus. Or it could be a different monster altogether. But whatever that monster is, it has already impressed me, and I hope that that we see more of it. And I hope we get a great story out of the new Gamera. Did you ever find out when it's coming out? Is it coming out this year, or is it coming out next year?
I hear conflicting things. Like, I think the purpose of them doing that was to get money, like gauge excitement, and then get like investors to like say like, hey, it's getting a lot of buzz on the internet, so we think this movie could be pretty big if we like co-finance it with you, and we'll put money into it. And I'm not sure. Everyone seemed to like it for the most part online and got some pretty good buzz. So if they got their investors, then hopefully either this next year or the year after.
Okay, so nothing's official yet, right? Nothing's set in stone, right?
Yeah, nothing's set in stone.
You know what?
And I gotta say, like, Even if the movie doesn't, like some old school fans are like, oh my gosh, like I can't, it's CGI, I won't want to watch it. Like, you know, you're always gonna have your old films; those aren't going anywhere. And you never know, like these movies could draw people, the kids and stuff, to like the older ones. Like we did a screening of the 2014 Godzilla at the theater I work at recently, and my friend, she brought her kids, saw it, like, yeah, we liked it, but we really want to see a Godzilla movie where he's the bad guy. I'm like, oh, do you now?
Mm-hmm.
So I let them borrow a GMK. And they're hooked now. They're making their way through the Millennium series. They're always bugging me for, you know, to borrow new Blu-rays and stuff. But, you know, G4, for all its flaws, man, like, it just in a roundabout way made two more generations of G fans. So
yeah, and that's a good thing you did by letting them borrow GMK. My wife's favorite.
Yeah, I love that film.
My wife's favorite Godzilla film. She absolutely loved that film to death, and to this day, I don't know why. I don't understand why she had to be hooked on the Michael Myers version of Godzilla in the franchise. I don't understand why, but.
Wait. I mean, you're a big Gamera fan, so you guys are like meant to be. You guys got like the scary dark kaiju.
Oh yeah. So yes, we're both evil people, basically. Oh man. Oh wow. But before I let you go, you're an X Plus fan just like I am. I just wanted to ask you one last question. What do you hope to see X Plus make in the future, as far as Gamera's concerned? I know we got a Legion that's supposed to be coming out, hopefully by next year, whatever. But there's not many monsters from Gamera that they have not released yet. I know they haven't released Jiger. They haven't released. I know they've done an Iris, but they haven't done like a proper Iris, a big one that it should be like they did with the Legion. They haven't released, I think, a Gamera from Gamera vs. Giron, or a Gamera from Gamera vs. Jiger. So, what would you like to see X Plus release as far as Gamera's concerned?
For me, it comes down to two things, and literally, I could pretty much box my collection up if I got these two. Obviously, me and you, the 30cm 1967 Gauss, like, they teased it almost a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Like, what the FX Plus? Like, it's pretty messed up to show it, and then not. The only thing that maybe figure is maybe the 30cm Gamera didn't sell that well. I don't know, but even then, like, it's still got to sell better than some of these Ultraman kaiju. Like, it has to, right? Like,
I would think so.
So, even if they had to do it as just a web exclusive, like, it's still, I don't know, but I need that figure.
I know, right? So hopefully, X Plus, you know, if you're listening, I echo Mr. Henry's sentiments. Give us that 30cm Gauss. Don't tease us and then not give it to us, because I haven't forgot about it either. So hopefully they'll bring that in the future, especially with Gamera 50th anniversary this year, and with Shin Gojira coming out next year, whatever. That there's gonna be a lot of awareness and a lot of eyes gonna be on the kaiju product. So hopefully we'll see some of those kaijus. But Eric Henry, thank you so much for being a part of this. We got to get together again. I would like to have another kaiju discussion. Maybe we can discuss our favorite Gamera films. We can discuss why we love Gamera vs. or why I love Gamera vs. Baragon. Then we can talk about why you love Gamera vs. Guardian Universe, and get the flow of conversation going. Would you be interested in coming back and doing something like that?
Heck yeah. The other X Plus figure, by the way, was I'd like to see a 25cm Gamera 1995, which is my favorite version of Gamera. So
you hear that, X Plus? Gamera 1995, 25cm. So yeah, this has been great, man. This has been great. Thank you so much for doing this. Showing our love for the giant, lovable super turtle that's the friend of all children. And but thank you so much for doing this. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, man.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
No problem. And thank y'all for listening to this wonderful conversation with fellow Godzilla as well as Gamera enthusiast Eric Henry. I thank y'all for listening. I really do appreciate it. And I will see y'all again on this Figure and Move review. All right? Y'all take it easy.